4 tips to avoid legal trouble this long holiday weekend. I've been doing criminal defense a long time. Next week, I'm going to get a bunch of calls, mostly for 2 things: intoxicated driving and domestic violence. And I don't want those charges for anyone. I would much prefer everyone to have a blast without involving criminal charges. So let's break it down on how to avoid trouble this long holiday weekend. Number 1, recognize and accept the fact police officers working this weekend, particularly Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, well, guess what? They're going to be surly. They're not going to be happy campers. Why? No one wants to work on the holidays. No one wants to work while their family is hanging out and having fun together without them. That's human nature. I'm just telling you right now, police officers working this holiday weekend are not Santa Claus. They are more like the Grinch. They're not bringing anyone any gifts. You want to do everything you can to avoid interacting with police officers who are working this long holiday weekend, especially Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Number 2, drunk driving. Everyone loves to drink, including myself. The problem is when we add that pesky driving in, the driving part just adds problems. And alcohol affects a person's judgment. So people start out the night saying, well, I'm only going to have 2 drinks and then I'll get an Uber or a cab. But then they have 3 drinks or more and they start saying, I'll probably find a drink. And it's not because these are bad people. It's because alcohol affects a person's judgment. To make it real easy, here's a simple idea. If you have more than 2 drinks, get an Uber. Yeah, you might have to pay for surge pricing, but it's cheaper than paying me. I promise you that. Now this 2-drink idea, if you're a lightweight or a small person or you're drinking crazy drinks with high alcohol content, get an Uber after 1 drink. Or better yet, make your spouse the DD. And how do you pick which one? That's easy. If you are the wife and you're going to the husband's family for the holidays, the wife gets a drink. If you're the husband and you're going over to the wife's family for the holidays, the husband gets a drink. We cannot expect to hang out with our in-laws sober. That's just common sense. Now, this is super important. Do not drive intoxicated with kids in the car. Bad idea. And an automatic felony in Indiana, even if it's the first time. And it's also a guaranteed visit from the Department of Child Services. And some particularly hard judges might even put a no contact order between the kids and the parent that was driving. And that is terrible. Let's talk about the next one, domestic violence. DV is horrible. DV has long-lasting impacts on families. It's a given that no one should hit anyone else except in self-defense or defense of others. And I say that and I believe it with all my heart and soul. And I also recognize that every single day I run into people that probably deserve a whooping of some sort. But we live in a civilized society and we can't go around putting hands on each other, especially our loved ones. And here's the kicker. Holidays are stressful. Everyone has preconceived notions of what it should and should not be. And guess what? We are all likely going to experience a bit of disappointment over this long holiday weekend. That's just a fact. I'm 43 years old. The last time I got everything I wanted for Christmas was 33 years ago. Now, I've enjoyed every Christmas since then, but none of them have been perfect. Heck, the year I got engaged to my wife, I asked her for a portable DVD player so I could watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer while I worked out on an elliptical. She got me pants, and I got her a diamond ring. You gotta let the disappointment go. And I know family's hard. I know I'm gonna see an aunt this weekend who's gonna call me fat to my face. She might be a little bit nicer than that, but she is gonna say some mean comment like, look at you eating all you want without a care in the world. You gotta just let that stuff go. And if you know you're gonna be hanging out with difficult people, go easy on the holiday drinks because alcohol and annoying people rarely mix. And back to point 1, you do not want to get police officers involved in family drama. If the police make an arrest for DV, the law in Indiana is you're going to be in jail for at least 24 hours. And in these long holiday weekends, it might be even more than that in some counties. I promise you, it's not worth it. And then, when you get out of jail, there's going to be a no contact order. If the DV occurred at home or against your spouse, you're not going to be able to go back home. You're not going to be able to hang out with the kids and the family. And if the kids were present when the DV went down, that's a felony. And felonies are really bad. DV cases are a pain in the butt. And here's the real deal. DV is almost too easy to allege. All it takes is, officer, he hit me. Most officers are going to arrest you even if the officer thinks the person might be lying. The officer is more likely than not going to arrest somebody on a mere allegation of DV because the officer knows that if the officer is wrong and the person ends up getting hurt later, the officer is going to be in a whole mess of trouble. So time and time again, I see good officers making arrests for DV on weak or almost non-existent evidence. Number 4, courts are closed until Wednesday of next week. If you get arrested between now and Tuesday, there will likely be no judge to see until Wednesday. Now, most counties have set bond amounts for most crimes, so it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in jail until Wednesday, but some counties require a person to be in front of a judge before a bond is paid. And some bonds are going to be outrageously high. Every year, we get hired on a case on someone who ended up missing Christmas because they were in jail. It is heartbreaking. And back to point 1, you do not want to deal with the police or courts, period, more so on a long holiday weekend. So in conclusion, police are not going to be happy they're working this weekend. Number 2, if you have more than 2 drinks, don't drive. And number 3, don't hit people. I hope no one needs me. But if something happens, give me a call, 317-632-3642. And always plead the 5th.